Hey friends, hey ADHD friends, welcome back to Mindful Chatting. You're in our summer series, and this is episode 3. I'm Kristin, a therapist, doctoral student, and researcher studying the real life emotional impact of ADHD in women. And today, I want to talk about something that shows up so often in my sessions and really in my personal life, but rarely gets the attention it deserves: social disconnection. You know the feeling. You're in a room full of people and still feel invisible. You're having a conversation and wondering if you're being weird, or you're so tired from being on for everyone else that you cancel plans again. In this episode, I want to help you understand why that happens, how ADHD rewires social engagement, and why it's not your fault if connection feels like a full-time job for you, because I know sometimes it feels like that for me. So let's grab a comfy drink, let's relax, and let's break this down. So at one time, I thought I was the problem. There was a time in my life before I really understood my ADHD where I constantly felt like I was failing at friendships and relationships. I'd miss a message or take too long to respond to one. I'd cancel because I was overstimulated, even though I had no idea what it really was at the time. And when I did hang out, I kind of felt out of sync, like I'd either overshare or completely shut down. And I didn't have a word for this. I didn't know what it was. I just felt different. I didn't know I was neurodivergent. I just thought I was too much or not enough at the same time. That is such a weird dynamic to be in. What made it worse was that I wanted connection. I wanted closeness. But maintaining relationships felt like walking a tightrope in roller skates. I just couldn't keep my balance. And afterward, I'd be so mentally drained that I'd avoid people, like completely, only to feel lonely again. I now understand that what I was experiencing wasn't a personality flaw. That was my ADHD. And the disconnection I felt wasn't because I didn't care. It was because I didn't have the tools or the self understanding to show up with safety for myself. So, when I wanted to explore this in my study, this is what I found. I wanted to understand this exact experience. Specifically, I wanted to know, do women with ADHD feel more socially disconnected? And does that disconnection correlate with ADHD symptoms? Here's what I found in the literature. Women with ADHD report significantly higher levels of loneliness even when they have active social lives. Inattentive symptoms like zoning out, forgetfulness, slow response times, they interfere with the natural flow of conversations and actually create feelings of detachment for people. Hyperactive symptoms like impulsivity, emotional reactivity, these often lead to interpersonal conflict, oversharing, or just totally misreading cues. And most importantly, women are more likely to internalize these issues as their fault. That internalized shame becomes part of their identity. So even when they do connect, they feel fraudulent, like they're not being genuine or real. One study I found that ADHD symptoms predicted social dissatisfaction and emotional loneliness, even in adult women who were in relationships or lived with others. This tells us something powerful. Being around people doesn't fix the disconnection because the issue isn't proximity, it's felt safety, it's identity. It's how ADHD quietly rewrites our relational narrative for ourselves. So let's break down what I like to call the loneliness loop, a pattern that I see over and over in women with ADHD. So first, you start off excited to connect. You show up and you're there, you're ready. But then something happens, or the conversations start to speed up, or there's a lot of people you weren't expecting to be there, and then you start getting overwhelmed, or you get distracted, or you're emotionally flooded. So then you start to overcompensate and you try to join everything or try to be a part of the crowd. It's not working. Or you do the opposite. You withdraw and you maybe hang out in the corner or hang on the wall or try to find somebody to just be present with, and hopefully you don't have to say anything to them. So then you end up going home and you do get out of it, which feels relieving in the first place. But then when you get home, you analyze everything. And then you beat yourself up because you didn't do enough. And then you feel ashamed. And then you avoid connection again or altogether. And it goes around and around and around. This isn't because you don't want to be around people. It's because your brain is constantly working harder to keep up with the things that most people take for granted. Reading tone, remembering details, staying regulated mid-conversation. Add in the years of masking and rejection sensitivity, and your nervous system starts treating relationships as threats. You're not disconnected because you're cold. You're disconnected because you've been protecting yourself for a long time. That's not weakness. That's survival, girl. So this is where my research is. My research is trying to discover this phenomenon, to build upon it, to give a voice to anyone who resonated with anything that we talked about in this episode. And if you related to anything in this episode, I'm welcoming you to take my survey so that you have a voice, so that you can contribute to this ongoing problem with women and ADHD, social disconnection, and loneliness. So if you're a woman between 18 and 40 with ADHD symptoms, I'd love for you to be a part of this research. Your voice matters, your experience matters, and your participation helps expand how we understand ADHD. Not just as a focus issue, but as a lived emotional reality. Next week, we're diving even deeper into loneliness. Not just the social kind, but the kind that sits in your chest and whispers, maybe I'm just not built for closeness. Spoiler alert, you are. You're just exhausted from trying to connect in ways that were never designed for your brain. I really hope this episode gives you language for what you've been feeling. You're not too much. You're not broken. You're just wired differently, and you deserve relationships that honor that wiring. Take care. Hope to see you in the next episode.